Ever been in the checkout line at the grocery store and the cashier tells someone the cost of their groceries and they have to pull out their wallet and their coins and double check the price and they forgot they had something at the bottom of the cart and on and on and on. They have alcohol but no ID. They want to write a check but don't have a PIN. They're flustered, confused, and inefficient. There are some people who take up to and sometimes more than 3 minutes to pay for their things before they're ready to go. Or how about being in an area with a lot of people and most of them are staring down at their phones or are deeply consumed by a specific piece of clothing or food. Something could be happening 20 feet away, or someone they don't want to be approached by is just a clothing rack away. Why is that? How does that happen? In most cases, they lack situational awareness. They're not thinking straight, they weren't thinking ahead, and they're not in the moment. Straight up. They're that person that doesn't know where the exits are, or what's going on around them, or even how the weather is going to be so they can dress accordingly. I mean, they live their whole lives like this. Now what if something dangerous were unfolding? From an irate person on the street or at the bar, to a mass shooting, knife attack, or the next stupid, violent social media trend. There are some things we can do to be more cognizant of our surroundings and other people's actions, and that is having situational awareness.
I'm Michael Archuleta, and these are the things we need to know. Like badass skills and tactics? Subscribe and hit the bell.
Situational awareness is all about being in the state of knowing what's happening around you and being ready to react however necessary. There are 3 main concepts to consider: the baseline, levels of awareness, and the OODA loop. We use these 3 concepts collectively. Start by making a baseline. Ask yourself, what's regular and when should I be on alert? We have to understand what's expected of people in the places in which we are attending. And when somebody acts not in accordance with those normalities, that's when the baseline is obstructed. So we're constantly adjusting our baseline depending on our environment and situation. If we're at a library, people act one way. Well, if we're at a rock concert, the crowd, people, audience will be different. We should create a standard or baseline of what is normal or expected for where we are. We should also be profiling people. What does their appearance say about them? Who are they with? And what is their body language or their demeanor like? As well as, but regardless of, age, sex, or race. Pick up on these details. Other things to consider would be climate and terrain conditions, time of year and any customs, and/or the crowd you're in. And if this increases the possibility of threats, such as a robbery, carjacking, assault, drive-bys, etc. We also want to keep an eye out for threat indicators, which could include getting angrier, getting closer to objects or people, or reaching inside their clothing. Now, we don't want to be hyper-paranoid, but we also don't want to be oblivious. We want to be aware. So now let's talk about the second concept, levels of awareness or readiness. This is known as Cooper's color codes, level white. If we're in level white, we're unaware and unengaged. We could be consumed by a telephone conversation or smartphone, or be overly drunk. We could also just be thinking of matters that aren't conducive to where or what we are doing now. Level yellow. Here we are alert and aware and have created some sort of baseline assumptions. We are observing and orienting. There is no threat, but if there were, we should have time to react. Level orange. In this level, a threat may or may not be arising, but we are prepared. Someone suspicious enters the area you're in, somebody begins shouting or acting aggressively, or something happens where you might have to react. Here, we're considering the options you have and making decisions. Level red. Here we are highly alert and ready to respond. Someone could be in our face or have already started an attack. If we find ourselves in level red, we need to be doing something. Side note, along with these skills, it'd be good to know some basic self-defense and improvised weapons techniques, as well as basic first aid. So we should study those as well. The third concept to wrap our heads around is the OODA loop, or OODA loop. There are 4 parts to this process: observe, orient, decide, act. First, observe. Look around. What's normal and what or who could be a problem, and what could you do to avoid or find a solution to that problem? Second, orient. Referencing our baseline, what can we deduce from here? What's expected and what's actually happening? What are the intentions of the person in question? We should always be observing and orienting, and these are the stages where the baseline is created. Aside from being aware of our surroundings, conditions, and situation, we need to have the skills to react. Some threats we can de-escalate or even avoid, but for those that we can't, we'll have to decide. For dangerous scenarios, we'll want to be thinking of 3 options: fight, flight, or out of sight. Let's start with the last one, out of sight. Hide and take cover. Case the area, or in civilian terms, look around. Know where immediate cover can be taken, and if we can grab something to shield or defend ourselves with. Flight. Run. Get the hell out of there. Know where the exits are and how to get around corners and out of the threat's direct sights. Speaking of exits, a common thing is to sit so that you're facing entrances and exits, restrooms, and doors or halls to other areas. This is so we can see who's coming in and out of these areas and know how to get out of there if we have to as well. Now, if we're able and capable, fight, engage in attack, be ultra-violent, and do whatever is necessary to stop the threat. And the fourth part of the OODA loop is to act. Do it. We've made our decision, now it's time to execute. So again, it'd be good to regularly train some basic self-defense skills just in case. One other thing I want to mention in this video is a concept from Sun Tzu about the orthodox being unorthodox and vice versa. Just pondering this can help us with some deeper level thinking that will help us develop and hone our situational awareness. Do you have a tip to be more situationally aware? Tell me in the comments below. And until next time, stay badass.